Well, we're gonna have to just roll with, let's see, Pop. Pop looks pretty good. Beam, hello, hello. Happy Friday to the people. I am excited to be here with you all because, at least for a little bit, this is my last Friday morning opportunity to go live. As many of you know, all the school district folk are slowly but surely coming back. I have been back for 2 weeks, and today is my last day of having a free Friday. And so I am super excited for this moment. It's only 10, and I've already accomplished so much. So that's really nice. I'm very much getting in the habit of my early morning or my early morning schedule, my early morning grind, because 8 p.m. is late at this, 8 a.m. is late at this point because I have already gone into full-time job land by 8 a.m. So I'm really excited that today I have the opportunity to go live and just chat with y'all. It is a Friday. I normally do my Just Show Up lives on a Saturday or a Sunday, but I actually haven't been with y'all in a while because I've been posting content on this page anyway because I launched a podcast. I have been talking about the podcast for a while with you guys on the Just Show Up lives, and I'm happy that I haven't been with y'all because I have been doing that. So for those of you who have been keeping up, I've already released 2 episodes of the Creative Scholar podcast. Go watch it. I promise you there's something for you there. I would love your comments. I would love your feedback. Yeah, follow. If you're not following me on this page, go ahead and follow me on this page. Make sure you tap notifications so you can get notifications. And yeah, follow the podcast playlist, definitely. So I'm sure you saw the title for this, and the title for this is you don't know what you know until you know it. Powerfulist, did I survive the alien invasion? Well, as far as I know, there has not been one. So let's see. You move. Okay, yeah, let's hide that. All right, the comments are commenting. Good morning to all of you who've logged in. It's so great to see you. Please drop down in the chat and let me know where you're coming in from, where you're watching from. Say hi in the chat so we know who you are. But yeah, so the title of this is You Don't Know What You Know Until You Know It. And sometimes you just have to really be willing to take things that you learn, and instead of wasting time being sad and being having regrets, or I guess beating yourself up for not knowing things, sometimes you just got to go ahead and learn from those things. So we're going to talk about that really quick. About an hour or so ago, I had just gotten out of, I'm a part of a membership where entrepreneurs meet in the morning, and it's called the Morning Meetup. Many of you have probably heard of it before. And so we were just discussing some things, and anytime I'm hearing or talking or discussing one topic, I usually visually see the parallels for other areas of life. So even though we're talking about business, things that are relevant to business, entrepreneurship, and so forth, there's always, life lessons, always life connections, life lessons that are learned. And we were talking about being in situations where you don't know your value, and so you show up a particular way. Not knowing your value, it can make you have a lack of expectations in situations of other people. Sometimes a lack of expectation of yourself. And sometimes not knowing your value makes you have a lack of expectations of people in relationships or of business opportunities, business relationships. Um, but a lot of times it makes you have high expectations for yourself and how you should show up and what you should do and what you should bring, but low expectations of what you should receive in return for your time, or maybe even low expectations of what your standards are for the kind of environment that you are willing to work in. All of those things. And we were talking about, on the business side of not knowing your value and how that impacts the opportunities that come your way, how it impacts how much money you make, how it impacts, yeah, over time, how much money you lose when you don't know your value, or sometimes how opportunities can just slip through your fingers because you don't know your value, or even how you can find yourself in situations that in no way, shape, or form use all that you have to give, all that you have to bring. Well, like your most amazing skill set is not used in situations where you don't know your value and you're just on a job. But of course, I was thinking about how in relationships, and I'm gonna say this from a woman's perspective because I'm a woman and I've experienced some things as a woman, how you can be in relationship situations and coming in, you don't realize that there are ways in which you indicate to someone that you don't know your value. And sometimes I think it's really tricky. This is the main reason why I wanted to do this video. Sometimes it's really tricky because something that is actually considered an asset, something that is considered like a great part of your personality or a great part of your being and how you show up, sometimes using it a particular way can indicate to a partner or a potential partner that, you don't know your value. And I feel like it's really connected to another topic that is really important to me, or really special to me, and that's codependency. Not realizing when you are codependent, not realizing when you are offering too much of yourself and you think you're just being a good person. You think you're just being a nice person. And, for women, women are supposed to be givers and they're supposed to be nurturing and they're supposed to be all of these things you enjoy being because they are what you are naturally. But not realizing that when you show up a particular way, it indicates to another person, especially someone who is not providing you a valuable experience as well. It indicates to that person that you do not know your value. And sometimes instead of learning that lesson, be it in business or be it in relationships, sometimes instead of learning that lesson, we take a failure or a rejection or having to walk away from something because it's just not healthy. We take that and instead of growing from it and realizing our value, sometimes we take failures in situations, be it business or personal, and allow those things to speak to us about who we are. It's almost like we expected ourselves to know things before we had the opportunity to learn them. And so that's why I titled this, you don't know what you know until you know it. If you find yourself in a business situation and you recognize that, oh, wait a minute, this is actually not satisfactory. Like this isn't a good situation for me. This isn't conducive to my growth, and it's definitely not. I'm not getting out of it what I deserve out of the situation. When you find yourself in a situation like that, um, you don't have to be stuck, for one, and then for two, there's another way to look at it. The other way to look at it is you needed to be in that situation so that you could recognize that you didn't know your value in a particular way. And instead of, being self-loathing or feeling like a failure, or like, oh, why did I waste my time and blah blah blah, it's more of like, okay, well, prior to this, I didn't know. Prior to this, I didn't know that I didn't know my value in a particular way or in a particular area. So the next situation, I won't do that again. I will recognize red flags a lot more quickly. I will be more forthcoming about my expectations more quickly. I will know what my expectations are walking into a situation in ways that maybe I didn't know in the last situation. So, yeah, I want to encourage someone and say that just remember that you don't know what you know until you know. And some situations were not a waste of your time. They were more like an opportunity to learn something that is going to walk you into your next level, your next space. Um, you don't know what you know until you know. Um, the problem lies wherein we are in opportunities, we are in situations where we have an opportunity to learn, but instead of learning, we double down on what it is that we did in the past, hoping that magically it will work again. Um, so being able to distinguish between a situation where you just kind of need to stay in a space, be it business or personal, and walk it out and learn and grow and contribute more, learn more about the situation, being able to distinguish between the two. Because there are times where it's not that you're in a situation where your value is not being recognized and treated as such. It's just you haven't been in the situation long enough to learn and grow and adjust. That's one scenario. But the other scenario is like, no, I'm very much playing small in this situation. The only way, that's one of the ways you can tell. If the only way it's going to work is if you play small, that's how you know, like, this isn't right. This isn't right. Business or personal. If the only way it's going to work is if you play small, that's one of your surefire signs that, like, this isn't the right place. This isn't the right place for me. I also feel like certain situations allow you the opportunity to actually pay attention to yourself and look within enough to know, look within enough to recognize when you're in a situation where you're playing small because of your own mind, not because of necessarily the people around you. Sometimes we are presented with opportunities that call for us to stand up, that very much need the skill set that you have, that very much need your personality, that very much need your experiences. But because of so many past experiences, you may walk into a situation that 100% needs and welcomes what you have. But because of past situations, you're so used to dimming your light. You're so used to cowering and playing small because you don't want to step on toes or offend anyone. You still play small, even though it's a situation where you are needed and where you are welcome. So that, it speaks to all of the things that are happening when we are in opportunities and situations to grow. We're having to observe like what's happening around us. But we're also having to pay attention to what's happening within. Like, how am I thinking about this? Am I trusting myself, or am I operating in fear? Am I discerning a particular something, or am I being paranoid because the last situation wasn't what I wanted it to be? So, all of those things are happening, and I feel like, knowing that means you should give yourself some grace, but you should always also hold yourself accountable. Give yourself some grace, hold yourself accountable. It also highlights how important being a part of a good community is, because sometimes you just need to talk things through with people who have been in similar situations, who know somewhat of where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do and what area you're trying to grow in. This is as far as business and personal. And those people can sometimes help you talk through and think through like what you're experiencing, what's happening within, and you know, having good people to talk to about experiences that you're having that are helping you hopefully to grow, be it business or personal. But just remember that you don't know what you know until you know, and but once you know, you are responsible for what you know. That's been the weirdest comments ever. The weirdest comments ever. But thankfully, this whole message review thing is actually working, because a lot of these um, are giving me the opportunity to hide the comment, but it is quite distracting. Ah, boy. Hide. Yeah. So anyway, those are my thoughts. You don't know what you know until you know. Um, one of the things that I do really really like about being a part of a community around whatever the topic, for this morning it was business. I have been for almost a year a part of a wellness community, and I took a break over the summer. And when I tell you it shows, I took a break over the summer because I wasn't going to be able to keep up with the check-ins and stuff the way I normally would. But I'm going to be starting back with that in August. But one of the things I love about being a part of a community that is focused on a particular area is just every time you log on, every time you comment or read a comment or read whatever book, it really does give an opportunity to grow, and it really does give an opportunity to share whatever that thing is that you have that's going to enhance or be a blessing to the other people in the community. So over the past year, I can honestly say, and I've said this before on a JSU live, that being a part of an intentional community around a particular topic is very effective. It's very effective for me and for most people that are open to it. I think if you are a more introverted type, if you do most of your work alone, or if you're just not, by virtue of proximity, already around people who are on what you are on, online memberships are very much worth the money. Normally they aren't super duper expensive. Um, yeah, normally they aren't super expensive. You may or may not be in a position where you feel like you want to be a part of more than one at a time based on your budget or even your time. But at least one. If you're an entrepreneur, definitely find a good one that meets regularly, where there are people who, first of all, at least know what the heck they're talking about a little bit. One of the things that I think is great about being in the community that I'm in is that there are people from so many different levels of success with entrepreneurship, but everyone is, well, not everyone, because everyone doesn't necessarily speak, but the people who do share, they're honest about like when they know what they're doing and when they don't. You can pretty much see like where areas are where a person, like, okay, they have this together, they know what they're doing. But I love that people are really honest about the fact that in the space that they are in, they are growing. And I honestly feel like in past times, a lot of people maybe that I have been around personally that I know like are super talented, hardworking, can do a lot of things, including myself. The missing element has always been consistently being around other people who are going in that direction, like not for the sake of just an event or for the sake of certain things that are for the optics, to make a brand look a certain way. It's more of like who is consistently doing this work. Being a part of different communities has fortified my what you call, kind of my mantra, that, or kind of my disdain almost for the elitism mindset. Like, some people who do very well at things, the way they portray it, it comes off as elitism, even within like the Christian community. Only this certain group of people that God has manifested this and thrown this wonderful glory on, only this little handful of folk um, can be successful at having a business. Only this handful of people can. And what I love about being a part of communities that have people of different levels of success in different industries with different stories is that it dispels that myth. It is not just this 10 people that God just decided, like, oh, you can be successful. It's more like whoever the people are who are committed to doing the work of growth incrementally, being willing to look at themselves and say, like, oh, this isn't where I want to be. And there is more that I can do. There are more places that I can go with what God has given me. Okay, let's just crack down and do the work. Yeah, I feel like being a part of a community helps to dispel that myth. Um, I've always not believed that myth, but what has been a challenge for me oftentimes is like, okay, where do I go from here? Like, what else do I do from here? And then like getting bogged down in all of the little things that I could do, that I need to do to build at the level that I'm at. I love that being a part of the community. Like the visual that I just got in my mind was of water. Like being a part of a community, a good, healthy, thriving community that is consistently growing from the top down. It's like moving water. Like it's a flow. It's like moving water. But being around a bunch of super talented people that are not necessarily always willing to look at themselves, and that always have to be seen as like I'm the I'm the talented one kind of thing. It is more like a puddle. It's like there's rain, and so everyone experiences the rain, but then the rain just sits in a puddle and it's dirty. It's dirty water, and then eventually the puddle dries up, and everybody waiting for it to rain again. That's how, to me, it kind of feels when you are maybe a gifted person that exists in an environment with other gifted people that are not necessarily willing to be pushed, or they always have to be right, or when like, I don't know, it's kind of like almost like it makes me think of like in government as well. Like it has to be a dictatorship almost. There has to be one talented person who portrays as if they know everything, and you cannot, they don't question themselves ever. They don't they are not necessarily doing their inner work. The whole work is around one or two people or a handful of people being glorified as these are the only people who can do something and know something. And I've never liked that. Even in times where, like, I guess I was a part of certain groups in different cities, and maybe I was kind of looked at as like a part of this elite group. I just, it never, I don't enjoy that. It has always been for me like that everyone has a gift to give. Everyone has something that they can share. And whether they want to do it through entrepreneurship or not, like everyone has something that is valuable to the people around them. Not everybody's not going to be able to do everything for everyone. No. And that should not even be the goal, because there's too many people in the world and too many different needs out there. But everyone can contribute and feel good about what it is that they contribute. Everyone won't. I know that everyone who has talent and everyone who has intelligence and everyone who has resources is not going to necessarily persevere to move through the process of what it is like when things come together and you're able to do something consistently and make a living for yourself. Everybody's not going to do that, and that's fine. Like, that is 100% okay. But I never enjoyed the I don't know, I guess it's kind of pop culture in a way. Like, that's kind of how it goes. You have to have someone to glorify and someone to vilify. Meanwhile, while one person or group of people is being glorified and another person or group of people they're on the downfall being vilified, all the people in between who actually have something to contribute are distracted by those two groups of people or by, whoever the powers that be are, instead of like figuring out how to consistently do what it is that each of us was put on this earth to do, and to do it well, and to do it with integrity, and to learn from mistakes and grow from mistakes. Like, that is healthier. So all of that to say, yeah, everything's connected. And you don't know what you know until you know. And, there are some things for most of us where there's always an area of growth that will present itself. And either we're in a place where we want to grow or we're not. And, different things happen that help to get us in a place where we want to grow. And either we take that opportunity or we don't. Right? So, yeah, that's my stream of consciousness that I'm sharing this morning. You don't know what you know until you know. Be it in business, you might think it's the thing. Like, I don't know, it's exciting to me almost. Even though some things are, hard lessons to learn. When you really just think you popping. You think you popping and you're doing all of what you know to do, and then you hit a brick wall, or you come upon a lesson, something that comes your way and shows you like, oh, work on this. And it's like, either you can be like, oh shoot, okay, and you decide to work on it, or you spend your energy trying to keep something on stable ground, or at least making it look like it is, instead of spending your energy actually working on the thing that's going to take you to the next level. Like, yeah, those are my thoughts this morning. Even though I initially came on to share the correlation in my mind between business and not knowing what you know until you know in business and in relationship. I thought about that. Yeah, I'm sure there's so much more I would say about the relationship analogy, but I was watching the video. I reposted it on my page. I was watching the video of the hot seat where I'm forgetting her name, and I really hate that because the names aren't important. But where this young lady, she's 23, where she's basically being coached live about what she's doing with her talent and in her business. And she was shown that she didn't know her value, and she was literally being taught how to think about herself and her gifts right there in real time, and practicing. Like, it was therapeutic, really, if you ask me. It did make me think about how in therapy sometimes, for example, if I'm working with someone in personal development, which oftentimes I have worked with entrepreneurs, where someone is afraid to do something that they know they need to do. Like, let's say a client sets a goal that they are going to have a conversation with their supervisor about something that is happening at work, or making a presentation, a proposal. I may have them to practice with me. Like, I will be the supervisor, and you know we will practice. And with whatever they do, they know it's not a performance. It's more for us to look at, like, what needs to happen and what's holding you back from that. So let's work on that. That is how I felt when I was watching the hot seat episode. Like, he literally had her practicing in real time how to share what it is that she does, and with confidence. And it's so funny because even though you know that people know what they do because they're actually doing it, like, you can go online and see the work that people do. You can still sit in a space, and if the right person asks you or the wrong person asks you, you will almost answer them like, do I do that? When it's like, clearly you do. We can go to your social media page and see, yes, you do that. But if a particular person asks, especially if it's someone that you respect in a space, if they question you and you question yourself, that is an indication, like, wait a minute, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't matter who asks. You know what you do. Do you know who you are? Do you know what value you bring? And sometimes we just need those opportunities to look at those things. Um, yeah, but it made me think about how also, in relationship, men and women sometimes have certain things that they expect that are unspoken. Sometimes we expect things from people that we don't even realize we expect until they don't give it to us. Um, so yeah, it's all learning. You learn, and then you grow, and then you do better, hopefully. You don't know what you know until you know. And that is even an admonishment to not waste time, or not waste valuable situations where a lesson could be learned that could change your life forever, or that could prepare you for the opportunity that will change your life forever. Yeah, you don't know what you know until you know, but once you know, you are responsible. But even when you know that you're responsible, if you don't have to, don't try to go at it alone. Find people who are on what you're on, or who are on what you need to be on, and be connected. Another thing I want to say real quick about finding a good community by any means necessary. In this day and time, there's really no excuse not to, because the internet, at least for now, while it's not glitching, there's no excuse almost but to find what you need, because Wi-Fi, because the internet, because even if you don't have it at home, you can find somewhere to get on it for free. Um, Even if you can't, I will even say this, even if you can't afford a membership right now, for one, find one that you can afford that does bring you the value that you need, but make your own almost. If you can't afford a membership, find the people who are on what you're on, or who are on what you need to be on, and learn. Get you a notebook and a pen. Like, if you feel like, well, I don't have the money right now to join a membership, find free content from the people of the membership that you want to join, and set yourself a time with a notebook and a pencil, and you sit down and you watch that content, or you read that ebook, and you write down your notes, and set a time for yourself that you will sit down and consume that information and process it, and sit with yourself with that, and set a time for yourself. So if you feel like you don't have the money, or not even feel like, if you look at your budget and you say, like, there's no way I can afford $70 a month, or $80 a month, or $100 a month to be a part of an online community, set yourself a time so that you will already be in practice of sitting down and processing information, and listening, and communicating. If you can't be in the membership, write in the comments. If you're processing something that you watched on the video, you might not be able to be on the Zoom right now because you don't have the money for the membership, but you can watch the free video, and you can write in the comments, because you're processing. You're processing what you have learned, and set your goal so that you're able to afford to be a part of a membership. Yeah, over the past year and a half, memberships have literally saved my wherewithal to continue to pursuing entrepreneurial things. I've never been a quitter, but I'm definitely a researcher and a processor. And but at some point, I'm looking for like how to move forward. I'm an action taker as well. It might take me a little longer than your average, but I'm cutting the time on how long it takes me to act by being, a part of communities where I'm gonna be accountable. Like, ain't nobody even got to ask me about certain things because I already feel obligated when I join to do what I say that I'm going to do. As a matter of fact, that's really kind of the reason why the wellness community that I was in for like the past year, I dropped out of for the summer, because it very much bothered me to miss things. I like to be on the Zoom. We had a Zoom call like every couple of weeks. We weighed in weekly. We there was like a meal planning thing where you post your meal plan for the week, and we weighed in weekly. Yeah. So for the first, I think I did 3 or 4 challenges. I I did not miss anything. I didn't miss a Zoom call. I did not miss, and this is while doing all of the life things. I never missed a Zoom call, never missed a weigh-in. Even if I gained, I still put my weigh-in down. And because of that, I consistently lost weight for almost 9 months. It was slow, but I was keeping the weight off. But then it got to be where towards like around April, like I was just deliriously exhausted a lot of times. And I one time I had the reminders on my phone, didn't go on the Zoom because I was just too tired. I just could not. I couldn't do it. And then the next week, I remember I fell asleep. So we had to track our workouts, and we had to show that we did at least 30 minutes on the workout. And you had to log 4 a week. And it was one week where I had logged my 3, and then my 4th one, I did the day that it was due. And I usually look at my Apple Watch afterwards to make sure that I had 30 minutes logged, because a lot of times it would be more, sometimes a little less. Sometimes it'd be like 28 minutes, 27 minutes. And I would be like, oh, well, let me just walk. I'm going to log this because I did this workout. But this particular week, I was so tired that after I did my workout, I did not even look at my watch. And I sat down on the couch, and I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I looked at my watch, I had 26 minutes and 40 seconds. I was so upset because I had never missed one. I was so upset. I had never missed logging my 30-minute workout 4 times a week. And so, like 2 or 3 things happened, and I was just like, oh, well, maybe I'll just come back over the summer. And that was not smart. Very much perfectionism, because I really could have just missed those workouts and just been out of the competition part of it and still continue. But I told myself, like, oh, I'll just come back after the summer, and then that way I can be consistent again and I won't miss anything. Well, that wasn't smart, because I haven't lost any more weight consistently since I quit. I need to, and I've started back losing. I've started back losing just because I know what I needed to do. But I'm going to be rejoining the group in August because I was losing a lot faster. But I went like maybe 2 months and I didn't lose any weight. In fact, I started to gain because I wasn't being consistent. So yeah, all that to say, memberships have kind of saved my life over the past, not literally, but kind of. Yeah, memberships have saved me over the past year and a half or so, because I've been, going through different life changes and working full time. And the work that I do calls for like event planning and a lot of different things and a lot of execution, whereby I do not have a lot of support. Not because people aren't supportive, but because it's my job. And I'm gonna make sure it gets done, even if that means a lot of the little things I have to do myself. So, like spring is my busier season with events and stuff. And so I was just like super duper exhausted. But thankfully, even through that, through memberships, I've been able to continue to make progress with my business and with some of the things that I'm pulling together for that, including the podcast, as y'all can see, which is something that was kind of like on pause for a long time. Every time I would go to work at it, I would get distracted by something else. And so, yeah, memberships have helped me. I did not get on here to promote memberships, but coming out of a membership meeting this morning is what got me on that train of thought. I came out to run some errands I got a little Starbucks on my way, and yeah, I was just thinking about just how you don't know what you know until you know. And sometimes, something that people might think of as like not valuable, like watching a video, people might not think of it as valuable, but there's so many little things, especially if you're someone who's interested in entrepreneurship and like you really want to do it. You don't realize on the outside looking in how many little things you have to learn. Like, you may be good at a particular skill set or a business, like counseling and coaching. I almost could do it in my sleep. It comes very natural for me. And of course, doing it for a couple of years and having a pretty extensive training and experience, and just by nature being a counselor type and having very close proximity to creative people almost all of my life, and increasingly so as an adult. That part of it is not hard for me at all. But in order for it to be a viable business that is not only that has the exposure to the clients that I need, the people that I need to know about me because they need what I have, that's the business part. And yeah, I've just been amazed at all of the tiny little things that I'm learning over the past couple of months that make a huge difference. Sometimes it's not even something that I'm learning that I need to do. It's more something that I'm learning that is helping me to be the person who can have this kind of a business happening. And just seeing even some of the ways in which my personality doesn't necessarily lend itself to being a business person, but where I can still, I'm not limited by my personality. It's just more of me understanding what needs to happen and how that can best work for me, so that I'm living in congruence, so that my heart and mind can be in congruence with my actions when it comes to what I do in the business world, in the business space. So kind of going beyond the entrepreneurship education and just knowing like some of the technicalities of having a business, but more so like learning some of the things that really happens behind the scenes of a business that are helping to shift my mindset into the gear that it needs to be in for me to be able to do something of the caliber of what I have in my heart and mind full time. So it's coming. It is working even now. And yeah, I just wanted to share some of my thoughts. Thank y'all for hanging in here with me. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this because I have talked about so many things. But the main point, if you're logging in now, is you don't know what you know until you know in business, and you don't know what you know until you know in relationship. And when you don't know certain things, if you don't know something, you can't communicate it well, right? And when you know something, it is your job to figure out how you're going to best communicate in a way that 100% relays what you're thinking and feeling and what your needs are to the other party. So that's in business and relationship, and understanding how to tap in and have the patience to learn what the needs are of the other party, whether it is in relationship or in business. If you're being hired for something, you need to understand what is it that an employer wants from you, or what is it that the employer needs from you. And you need to understand what you need as well, so things can be communicated and negotiated, and so that everybody is getting everybody's getting something good out of the deal. Yeah. But anywho, it's 11 and I have someplace I'm trying to be at about 11:15. So I'm going to log off now and I'll get there, and it'll take me a couple minutes to get there, but I'll be there before 11:15. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on and do a Just Show Up live. I just showed up. For those of you who normally catch me in these, it's great to be back again. I'll probably come back Sunday and talk about a more premeditated topic. Today I just shared with y'all my stream of consciousness, and I hope that it has helped someone or will help someone in some way. All right. I think there's a way now for me to continue to see these comments after I get off of here. Oh, thank you, HW. You have a great day as well. Child, some of these comments are very interesting. But anywho, you guys have an amazing Friday, and I will see you soon. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you have not yet. Main thing I want you to do, though, if you don't do anything else, is check out episode 1 and 2 of the Creative Scholar podcast. Give me some feedback, comment, give it a thumbs up, get it on the algorithm. And for now, that's all of my info is on my about page. It's also in the description of all of the videos, especially the last 2 that you see on my page of the podcast. All my info is there. Connect on IG. Yeah, everything's there in the description. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.